welcome to another session of the LPE Author Chat Series. I am your host, Kimberly K. LaBoo, CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprise. And as you guys who have been hanging out with us all week have known that we are celebrating our authors of The Mom in Me Volume 2. And so we are leading up to our launch on June 5th. And we have had amazing interviews all this week, a little bit over the weekend. And so we have another amazing interview for you tonight. And tonight we have with us Miss LaShonda Durden, and she wrote the chapter, Throwing the Baby Out with the Bathwater, Reimagining Rest. Welcome to the broadcast, LaShonda. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you
Excited
for
to have
having
you
me.
here. You
Thank
look
you for having
fabulous.
me. Thank you.
And so first, I always jump right in, but first I just want you to tell me what made you say yes to this project, The Mom and Me Volume 2?
It was time for me to let my voice be heard. I have family who are going through things that I went through. I think it's easier sometimes when it's coming out of a book, maybe, or not necessarily
Yeah.
coming out of a person's mouth. So yeah, for the generations to come and the generations who are already here, just helping
Mhm.
women and men to understand that the stories that we share are real. We just forget to share them. So
Yeah.
helping
So
us to
true.
remember to share.
Awesome. And so why the title, Throwing the Baby Out with the Bathwater? It's a saying we've heard forever.
Right,
And so when I
right.
saw your chapter title, I was like, okay, that's interesting. So why did you choose that title?
Well, I was hoping that you all would choose the title for me. I was like, if I just leave it blank, they'll figure out something. And so that was my intention. And when you kind of text me, it was like, okay, we need a title. I kind of scanned it over and I thought about, what do I want people to take from this? And I
Mhm.
think that with that title, it's catchy enough that most of us know what it means.
Mhm.
Getting rid of everything um,
Yeah.
instead of keeping the good and maybe holding on to the not so good in a different way, not
Mhm.
embracing it so much. So
Mhm.
so throwing the baby out with the bathwater and just reimagining rest. We as women have been trained oftentimes that rest has to look a certain way,
Mhm.
that we have to do it a certain way. And through my seminary training, through my hospice training, I was a hospice chaplain for 10 years. Through that training, it really helped me to reimagine and re-understand, what does
Mhm.
rest look like? What does the Sabbath look like? What do those things that tradition tells us needs to function in one way?
Right.
What is it really like? If I'm telling you that you have to sleep for 8 hours a day in order to get rest, and that's not a reality in your life right now,
Mm.
then how are you going to achieve that? So instead of
Yeah.
just throwing the whole baby out with the bathwater and saying, well, I just won't rest until they're 15 and 16 or never,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
finding ways to rest now, finding ways to catch those little moments, whether it,
Yeah.
it might not be going to sleep physically, but it might be just
Mhm.
spiritually taking that moment to relax and breathe, exhale, and just and
Absolutely.
refocus your energy for that moment. So
Mhm.
that's
That's
how I came
good.
up with that title is
That's good. It's good to hear you, tell it in your own words why you chose that. That was
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, thank
And
you.
so I'm going to be sharing bits and pieces of your chapter, and you could just, jump in when I pause and tell us more about some things, because you wrote a whole lot in your chapter. So y'all gonna have to get the book and to fill in the blanks. But I want to start with how you started the chapter. You said it was 2005. I survived being an adult in the 1990s while living in Atlanta, Georgia. It was the best of times. I was beginning an internship to complete my Master of Divinity degree. It was earned. Congratulations. And so many things were wrapping up in my life, and I was excited at the opportunity to really go wherever and do whatever I wanted in service to the Most High in my community. And you said I was being pushed mentally and spiritually, and I loved it. I participated in small group sessions and individual therapy to ensure I was dealing with all my stuff so as to not project it onto my coworkers, patients, or their loved ones. The debates, the raw emotions, the support, the love, the pain, the release of so much trauma. It didn't feel good then, but it ended well. I made a choice to confront my demons, confront the people, confront the places, confront the bipolar challenges, confront the lies, confront all that I had imagined into reality. The result felt like freedom. It was freedom. Nothing stopping me from whatever the next level of soaring looked like for me. I graduated from seminary feeling ready to conquer the world, ready to go and be the chaplain I was called to be. So I want to pause right there just for a second because I want you to talk about for a moment your experience with therapy, because mental health right now it's just has always been, but there's a spotlight on it now, and it's like taboo, especially in our community, to talk about therapy or to go to therapy. So I want you to share just a little bit about what that experience was like for you and how it possibly helped you.
Right. So I think to properly understand why I chose the type of therapy, you got to understand
Mm-hmm.
the trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
coming from childhood rape and abuse from family members, and trying to find ways to hide that, mask that over the years, not telling anyone, not sharing it with anyone, and just kind of, going along being okay, with quotes,
Right.
definitely not really okay. And my mother was very instrumental in reminding me when she did not know what was going on with her baby. She just knew that I was struggling with some stuff. And
Yeah.
she was always very aware and helpful in reminding me to find my inner child, go talk to her, see what's going on with her, check in with her, and those type of things. And just over time, just realizing, okay, I need more. I need to talk to somebody who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily have an agenda. If I'm talking to
Right.
them, oftentimes when we speak with family or even friends, they may have an underlying agenda that might be for our best interest. However, it might not be best for us as we're processing whatever trauma or grief or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And it might not even be a negative thing to go to therapy. It might be, that you're trying to figure out your next job move and just want to
Mm-hmm.
talk to somebody who has an objective position. So my
Mm-hmm.
therapy journey, because of seminary, they require clinical pastoral education, which is where you have literal group therapy sessions with a small group,
Mm-hmm.
same people for like a year. So you definitely get to
Wow.
know them and they get to know you, and
Yeah.
everybody's all in everybody's stuff. And so you have to, I mean, and that's really what it is. It's stuff on the
Yeah.
table and
Mm-hmm.
dealing with it. And some people
Right.
could and some people couldn't. Some people chose not to. And in addition to that, I was going through individual therapy. So I would, have
Mm-hmm.
a group therapy, let's say on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then 2 days out the week, maybe, or one day out the week, I would go to an individual therapist because there were certain
Mm-hmm.
things that I needed to continue to process.
Right.
It was like, okay, this happened, and I know how it has affected me. I have a bachelor in sociology, so I
Mm-hmm.
understand group dynamics and how things that happen to one individual can trigger something for the whole group. And
Yeah.
so drawing from that and just understanding that I couldn't heal myself mentally the way that I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I should be healed,
Yeah.
definitely leaning on prayer through all of that, and the Most High and the guidance of pastors and teachers
Mm-hmm.
and women and people, I knew were a support and a safe place. And that's the thing about
Yeah.
therapy is if you're going, it's important to have safe people
Mm-hmm.
that you can either share with or not. If you go to
Yeah.
therapy and decide, okay, well, I don't want to talk to anyone about what I talk
Yeah.
to my therapist, that's okay. And if you choose that you want to talk to them, make sure that that's a safe person who's not going to end up setting you back after you've had some progress, so make sure that you
Right.
have safe people or a safe person or not anyone at all. Take it to the
Mm-hmm.
Most High and let that be enough. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that has to be sufficient as you're
Right.
dealing with really, really deep, especially generational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to, just talk to your mama, talk to your dad, talk to your cousins
Right.
when they may be part
You're
of the ecosystem
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
existing the situation
Yeah.
to fester. So
Mhm.
yeah, so therapy for me has been a process. It's an ongoing process. I
Mhm.
don't feel like, oh, I'm in therapy now and now I'm out because I'm healed. It's for
Right.
me, therapy is about, okay, I need another perspective. I need somebody to bounce
Mhm.
things off of. I need somebody to call me on my stuff and be like, LaShonda, that don't even make no sense. And it's also very important when you're choosing your therapist to know yourself. I know
Mhm.
that I can get over on people. I can present,
Yeah.
and I can talk a certain way, and I have a therapist thinking I'm good, and and there's no need for us to been really
Right.
crumbled inside. And I need a therapist who can pick up on that and who can say,
Mhm.
okay, Shonda, well, yeah, you said you were feeling fine today. However, this, and this, or when you said this,
Yeah.
so being aware of, if you're really serious about your own healing and your own
Mhm.
health and well-being, being honest enough when you choose your therapist. Interview some if you have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick the first one that comes up on your insurance portal.
Right.
Interview
That
them so
part.
that you know that they are able to help you. Because if you go into it knowing that you can lie to them and you can connive and
Mhm.
not tell them the truth, you're hurting yourself, not
Yeah.
you. So therapy is for
Yeah.
the person who's in therapy.
Amen. That's good. I wanted you to just share that. Anybody that comes on, who talks about the fact that they've been through or experienced or are still in, I like to shed light on that because, it may give someone else permission to say, maybe I do need to go do that. If
Yeah.
she's doing it,
And you don't have to be crazy. You don't
right,
have to be
exactly.
psychotic. You don't have to have any
Exactly.
type of diagnosis, whether
Mm-hmm.
they said you were bipolar or they said you were depressed, whatever, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. If
Yeah.
you feel like you could possibly benefit from talking to
Yeah.
someone who is outside of your immediate circle,
Mm-hmm.
then that's
Can
who
do that.
therapy is for. It
Yeah.
has many different levels, many different layers, many different
Mm-hmm.
therapists. You don't have to bring the whole family in. You don't have
Right.
to have
Right.
him or her on the couch with you
Right.
and get their opinion. It can be
Mm-hmm.
about you just individually dealing with, okay, I need help with creating a schedule. Okay, I need
Mm-hmm.
help with dealing with my granddaddy stuff. I need help with dealing
Mm-hmm.
with how I'm going to go with my future. A therapist can help and does help in so many ways. You just have to be clear about what it is that you want.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Okay. So we did our pause. So now back to the story. He said everything was on par to be amazing. But then he said, I remember the day that began to change. I was having what I thought was a great chat with my best friend since kindergarten. She had become a full-time stay-at-home mom since giving birth to her now 2-year-old. She was a teacher and decided that her gifts would best be used in her home. Good for her. As she shared about trying to navigate sleep, hair, food, and marriage, I shared about sleeping. I shared about napping after work, sleeping late on the weekends, napping after shopping, napping after brunch, napping after dinner, or whenever I felt like napping. I shared my late night Walmart runs just to go, my midnight Taco Bell runs just because I wanted Mexican pizza, no beans, extra meat. She shared about poop and mom life. I was content with that not being my life. As we continue sharing, I want you to share what she said and then give us the bleep version of your response. Let's talk about that.
So we were on the phone one day, just chit chat and girl talk,
Mhm.
as much as it could be at that point. And she's just in the middle of our conversation said, "Shawnee, that's what they call me. You need to have a baby." And I was like, "What the p? No, that I don't," because I mean, to this day, I tell her, I'm like, "Girl, I cannot believe that you put that on me." And every time she never apologizes, she never says like, "Oh well, I'm so," she's like, "Well, you did. You needed one."
Mhm.
And I did. My babies, my children are my angels. I tell them that every day. They keep me on point. They
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they constantly are like, "All right, mom, well, you said this." Even today, I was coming to my mom's house, and my daughter said,
Mhm.
"Well, we need to leave at 4 instead of 4:30 because you don't need to be late, and it'll take you an hour." My child
Oh
knows
wow.
still trying to do me, and I was like, "You know what? Yep, you're right." And so yeah, so she told me that I needed a baby. Um, and I did. I didn't think I did then,
Hmm.
but they changed things.
Let me tell the viewing audience, you guys have to hear that told in her words. 'Cause I got to that point and just cracked up laughing. I was like, that was such a real and raw response. Like I
Absolutely.
felt that.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel
So
it every
funny.
time we talk about it because I'm just like, oh, like for real. I mean, imagine just feeling like you're at the runway and you're taking off, and somebody
And
just
she
like,
just gonna throw
oh
that in
yeah,
there.
yeah, take this baby with you. It's like, okay, that changes the
That
entire destination, chick. But here we
was
go.
funny. That was so funny. And so, from there, you did end up getting pregnant
Yes, I did.
not long after. And
Yeah.
not with one, but then after that, you had another one.
Yep. I had one June 23rd, 2006, and had the next one June 24th, 2007. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
And so then you talked about, you said baby girl would not sleep. Her brother was born a year and a day after her birthday, 1 year and 1 day, 15 months with no real rest. I had transitioned from 150% sleep to 50% or less in a twinkling of an eye. And so your chapter is really focusing on the whole sleep deprivation and what that did to you
Hmm.
and what it caused you to experience, navigating through parenting. And so, I'm going to share a little bit more, but talk a little bit about what that experience was like for you, um, being sleep deprived, because I know so many moms share this story.
Yeah. Painful.
Hmm.
That's one word. It was very painful.
Yeah.
The emotional, the physical, the spiritual pain is really
Hmm.
undescribable because it's like it gets to a point where not it's like it is where it gets to a
Hmm.
point and you physically can't get any more tired. You know you
Yeah.
can't. It's like the next thing is just collapsing. However, you got
Hmm.
this baby who needs to be fed, or however, you have this job you have to go to, depending on your situation.
Hmm.
So for and I mean, and just painful. That's the main thing. Your mind
Yeah.
hurts, your body hurts, your soul hurts, and you
Mm.
don't know. You can't find a way to get rest.
Yeah.
For me, I did have support, but even with that, it's my baby girl. I don't want nobody holding her for long. I don't want nobody
Oh,
and all
wow.
that good kind of stuff. And my mother was like, "Girl, you lost your mind. I raised you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take her." And I think that that is what I don't even know where we get that from, but
Hmm.
where this well, I do know where we get it from, that protection where we know
Yeah.
that things have happened to whether it's us, our
Hmm.
friends, our cousins, our
Hmm.
family members, whoever it is. We hear these stories of when I was a baby, and so as
Hmm.
mamas we are like, okay, we done put in these, whether it's 1 month
Yeah.
or 9 months of in utero time, and we've been baking y'all, and when you
Mhm.
get here I am going to protect you. And it was
Yeah.
never for me that, I thought my mother would hurt my child or my father
Right.
would, abuse. Like
Yeah.
that wasn't it. It was just like,
Hmm.
I got to protect him from all of y'all, from
Everybody.
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 Right. So
Right.
it wasn't like oh, well, it's just you or it's just you. And
Hmm.
I understand how insane that
Hmm.
is. I mean, and it really
Hmm.
is. And
Yeah.
one of the authors of the co-authors of Mama Me one, Elisa, she asked me as we were
Hmm.
sharing about her book, and I was sharing
Yeah.
about the things that I was going through, and she asked me, when we go through these things and we hold on to them over decades, sometimes,
Hmm.
how does that work out for us? Like when we're holding on to this
Right.
hurt and we're holding on to this trauma, it's like, okay, you got all these people right here ready to take care of this baby with you, to hold
Hmm.
this baby and make sure she ain't gonna go to sleep. I mean, that's the most
Yeah.
you're gonna do
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
young age is go to sleep. But
Hmm.
understanding, so that for a lot of us, I think is the place where we've experienced so much trauma, even if it wasn't
Hmm.
personally, that it's like, okay, I have to do everything in my power
Yeah.
to protect this baby. And that
Hmm.
means not getting sleep. is what we
Wow.
make ourselves believe. And
Mm-hmm.
I know, for the aunts in my family and my mama, my dad, I mean, I know that they're sitting here like, what? You had help. People,
Yeah.
I mean, my cousin, she has help, but it's just we want the help to exist the way we want it to exist.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Absolutely.
send our child to somebody else's house and we stay home, or they come to our house and we go to their house. We want it
Right.
this way, or they take the child and you go to a hotel. Whatever it is, you have
Yeah.
to be creative and be willing to
Mhm.
negotiate a little bit if you
Yeah.
want your rest. I mean, my doctor had to
Yeah.
tell my husband that, and this was also after a car accident, so it wasn't just about, oh
Mm-hmm.
well, she's just tired, but so this was after some more trauma that he was like,
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna need a lot of rest, like she is not okay. And that's what he told her.
Wow.
He had some hockey level trauma, head
Wow.
concussion with newborn babies, and I'm like, okay, what the I'm supposed to do now? And so, it's like I already can't get rest. I can't
Yeah.
achieve this rest. And now it's more. So, I mean, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was able, at least at one point during that time, to go away for the weekend and literally, not be,
Mm-hmm.
not need to have to care for my children or figure out what time they need to do whatever.
Yeah.
And that was helpful. But so many women won't take that moment of
Yeah.
rest when they have people telling them, "Girl, I take your baby. I'll take her for even if it's just a
Mm-hmm.
little while." So we have
True.
to reimagine how we are looking at rest and why we need
Mm.
it. I mean, we know intuitively, like, okay, well, we need rest to grow and breathe and function properly. So why
Yeah.
are we not doing it? So why aren't we doing it? And that goes back to the trauma. Is
Yeah.
understanding that because we've experienced all this trauma, whether personal or not, we got this stuff and it's not serving us well. It's not.
Right.
It's not. It's killing us. It's
Yeah.
destroying us and it's destroying our families.
Yeah. Because I mean, you even wrote about, a point where you felt like you had hit rock bottom, and it's like, why do we have to get to rock bottom? And so I like what you're saying, and encouraging people to reimagine what that rest looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important. And guys, she wrote about so much more in her chapter, about your experience with your mom when you thought, when you did hit rock bottom and you thought, okay, I'm ready to go tell my mom that, hey, I need help. And because I'm at rock bottom. And then she had her own
Health issues.
experience, her health
Right.
challenges,
Absolutely.
and that just kind of snatched that away, from you when you were ready to say, I'm
No.
falling apart, I'm dying here, and you're like, you can't, you like, I can't now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was a very interesting part of your story as well,
Yeah.
because you're like, what now?
Right.
What do I do now? And so that was good. um and so I want you to talk about a little bit about what writing about this was like for you. What was that experience like for you?
Therapeutic, liberating. Um, yeah, it was helpful for me because I have probably, I don't even know how many books baking inside of me,
Yeah,
that I know are there. I mean, I've got them in my Google Drive and I've
I
got them.
can tell. I can
So
tell.
we will be publishing more soon.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I just needed to start. I just needed to
Yeah.
really do it and go.
Mhm.
Um, it was time. So that liberation of not allowing myself to be muted,
Yeah.
of requiring my voice to be heard,
Hmm.
understanding, like I said, that generational aspect of it, that this work is not just for me. This is for the
Correct.
mamas who were there in situations that they couldn't change,
Hmm.
they may not have had any outs or any options, for
Right.
those who are going through it now and for those who are going through it in the future, to give some options. Let us think more clearly about how we are going to take care of ourselves and our families, because it's not just
Yeah.
about taking care of us. It's
Yeah.
about a whole nation that we're caring for.
Exactly.
And so we
Exactly.
got to do better. Got to do
Yeah.
better.
And one of my favorite parts of your chapter was your poem. And I'm just going to give the viewers just a little taste of it, but they have to get the book to read the rest. But I loved it so much. It's called Mommy, My Mom. He said, that's what they call me all day and all night. Mommy, my mom. I can't even go to the bathroom without somebody calling me. Mama, what you doing? Mama, can I have some ice cream, some pizza, some chicken nuggets, some juice, some water, some candy? Ma, can I come in? Mommy, how long you going to be in there? I love it. So they'll have to get the book to read the rest of that. But this is it's such a great poem because it's just so real, and we've all, as a mom, we have been there. And it's like, are you kidding me? Can I not even take a bathroom break? It's like, but I love this poem. And so tell everyone where they can purchase a copy of The Mom and Me Too from you.
All right, thank you. So that'll be at Shonda, SHONDA, at mamashonda.com. So Shonda at mamashonda.com is where you can purchase that. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for all you do for our community.
Awesome. Thank you. I thank you for saying yes. I thank you for being a part of this project. You have definitely added, to the richness of this project and what it's going to do to be able to help other moms and people in our community. So I'm just so grateful for that. So I want to know, what do you want people to gain from reading your chapter?
Strength to choose differently.
Mm,
Strength
that's
to choose
good.
differently. We have an
That's really
option,
good.
and oftentimes we eliminate those options for ourselves at the detriment of ourselves. So
Yeah.
definitely choose differently, sis. You got options.
Yeah. I love that. And so, since we have aspiring writers that watch our LPE author chat to get inspired, what one piece of advice would you give to someone who is thinking about writing for the first time?
Submit it. Start.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
yeah, that's what I would say is submit it.
Okay.
We walk around with so much stuff inside of us as
Hmm.
women, just stuff.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I have my daughter will be 15 at the end of June, and and I have been trying, and I've always talked to her, but I've been trying, recently to be like, all right, well, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about my experience. And she's like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I just want to keep this good little image of you that I have. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
and she was the one who told me to, she's like, well, put it in a blog or write a book or something, and I'll read it when I get
Okay.
ready. And I'm like, okay, you know what? If that's what it takes for me to
Hmm.
get all this stuff out of me, then I'll start
Yeah.
there. And so start. That's what I would say
Yeah.
to any aspiring artist. It's amazing working with LaBoo Publishing for me because
Thank
my
you.
stuff was already, ready. So you didn't have to stay on me like some people, but that's
Yeah.
okay. You're able to do that. And that compassion
Hmm.
that you have, that is like, okay, your deadline is here. Let's get it. That okay, it's okay, but come on, do it. I mean, so just
Yeah.
that
A
gentle
gentle push.
compassion, right? Where it's like, okay, well, you said you want to write this book, chick,
Hmm.
so let's get
Let's
it.
go. Yeah.
So I would definitely encourage anyone
That's
who is
funny.
interested or considering writing a book to reach
Hmm.
out to you and start. Even if you just start with a couple of sentences a day,
Yeah.
do the little voice to text and get it
Mhm.
done. Because the only way that you're gonna get it out is to start.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, I tell everyone, nothing happens until you write. Like,
Yep.
start. That's a
Start and
great piece of
submit.
advice.
That's the
Start
thing.
and submit. Yes. So that's awesome. Well, thank you again for being my guest on this evening. You have been fantastic to hang out with for a while. And I can't wait for people to read the rest of your chapter, read the rest of the poem, and get all this goodness. Because I've promise you, I had a couple of laugh out loud moments
I
reading
know,
your chapter.
right?
Even with the seriousness of what was going on, it's just the way you told the story was just fantastic. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
To our viewing audience, thank you for joining us for another session of the LPE Author Chat series. And like she said, if you're thinking about writing your book, head on over to www.laboopublishing.com and connect with us there. Take care and be blessed, everyone. Have a good night.